Grog. Hey everyone, it's the Sideshed Podcast with me, Peter Fickling, Keri Warbis and Matthew Weir. It's a bit of an odd week this week. 20,000 episodes of The Archers, which I think Keri's listened to probably 19,000 of. Matthew 10, me roughly the same. Although, guys, feels like more, doesn't it? Especially... Anyway, bit of news. My life's been incredibly hectic recently, so you're going to hear a little bit less of me over the next few months. I'm going to be probably stepping in to help Keri and Matthew with kind of like holiday cover and stuff. So it's not a goodbye, nothing sinister like that. But yeah, I just burnt the candle at all ends and all the bits in the middle. So basically it'll be a bit more like the last couple of months have been, where we've been doing a few sort of two-person shows. But anyway, that bit of news out of the way. The Archers. So we had an astonishing week. I can actually be positive once, guys. Check this out, right? I've really enjoyed the Stella plot recently. I think Justin has been great, and I've enjoyed how it's developed with Brian, and I thought there was a genuine cliffhanger today, not on that bollocks with Tom and Rob, but I actually thought the Stella stuff was quite good. So let's chuck in an ad, and then maybe you can tell me if I'm wrong or right. So who wants to agree with me? Who wants to tell me I'm an idiot?
What do you love about the Stella situation then? I mean, she's a great actress, isn't she? And can carry a story super, super well.
She can make Ruth seem interesting, which, you know, is quite the achievement. So we these farms have been in stasis for decades. You know, fundamentally, it's the same cast shuffling around, the same tedious little plot lines, right? You know, Adam wants it, Debbie doesn't want it, or Tom's, you know, throwing a fit about who cared the other week when Tom was threatening to go move farms. It's like, all right, off you go then. None of us care. But Stella actually being given the whip hand of Home Farm is a pretty big deal, and especially the way that Justin did it. He's basically like, yeah, you know, remember who pays the bills around here, Brian. And so I'm genuinely excited for next week to find out what happens.
Yeah, Justin is loving it, isn't he? I think that it's good, but also awful, isn't it? That he couldn't wait to hear the gossip about how everything's crumbling and Brian's overworked and had to get Alice in to do some worming of deers. He's reveling in it, really, our Justin.
Interesting to hear Stella say to Ruth that she finds Justin as duplicitous as Brian, because a lot of the time people thought that Stella was his mole, but she did go against him at a BL meeting a little while back, didn't she? And she backed Brian.
Yeah.
So Brian's got a pretty short memory in all of this. And then at the same time, you've got Adam kind of creeping around going, oh, I just feel awful about it. But it's a bit muddy, apparently, that I said she should go off and buy the drill.
Yeah, I disliked Adam as much as Keri does. You know, like I said a couple of weeks ago, that you know that I did sort of sometimes find Keri's level of hatred for him difficult to match. But this last week, easy peasy. Yeah, I'm right with you, Keri. Yeah.
Welcome to my world.
Keri's broke on through since reading that article in the Telegraph with the actor. She's got it in for the actor now as well.
That's not new. It just ramped up with that article. You know, it's nothing new. But when Adam said he wished Brian hadn't sacked Stella, and it was like, you could have stopped it. You were standing there, weren't you? He's very strangely going around different people giving slightly different versions of his side of things. Absolutely awful.
So much of the Archers feels dislocated from real life. But that is something that's quite kind of true to a lot of our experiences, right? You know, you work in an office and you try and, you know, or any other sort of company, and you try and help people. You try and be a good citizen, and every now and again, someone just does the dirty on you, and it really takes the wind out of yourselves.
I remember those days, Peter. It's only about 2 years ago.
But yeah. Oh, no, actually, just a second. Yeah, okay, right.
Keri, you do a much better DJ horn. That's the one.
Yeah.
Oh, I just kicked the desk.
With excitement. Where do these sounds come from? I just don't know.
Alive. Oh, yeah, I could talk for hours, but
Yeah.
but you know, when someone actually does the dirty on you in real life, it's such a shocker because most people are decent. Most people kind of work within the confines of, you know, accepted morality.
Yeah.
And so for Adam, I mean, Adam's sins have always been kind of clumsy or kind of like it's greed or kind of like affairs of the heart, even though he's boring. But this is just horribly cynical and sort of slimy.
Yeah, and then you hear him with Justin's clinking Chardonnays. Get white wine spritzers, olives, and wild garlic pizza made by my lovely husband. Poor old Ian, who we don't like, but he's always in the background with the tea towel like round his neck, isn't he? Like rustling up various food items.
Ian was meant to be going out as well, wasn't he? How did he find time to make pizza and then...
How many fucking pizzas does he make? I mean, he makes them all day and then at home he's making them still. It's either that or... What's the other thing? Something on croûte, wasn't it? A beef Wellington.
I mean, it beggars belief that Ian would want to spend a single minute in the room with either of them, but
true.
There he was. There he was giving, filling their bellies while they were planning, duplicitously planning. Justin, because the thing is, Justin's cynicism it's actually just kind of it's just who he is. Like no one expects it. It's like if you get bitten on the arse by a rabid dog, you don't go, oh my god, what a surprise. It's like, oh yeah, that's what they're supposed to do. So that you just don't feel upset with Justin when he's behaving like a dick. But at least, but hearing Adam kind of going around, doing his little pity party, I had to stab her in the back, or I can't remember exactly what I said when I completely gave her permission to do whatever she wanted. You're hearing him whine his way around the village. I am very, very tired.
I don't want to see him as well, thanks.
I did get, when Justin and Brian were going at each other, I just suddenly summoned Newman and Baddiel as the History Today professors.
Yeah. What's the punchline? You see that low till field? That's you. That is.
See that polytunnel?
Yeah.
That's you. That is.
This silage tank smells of poo. That's because it's been inside your mum's bra.
That maize field that hasn't been mown.
I could quite happily do nostalgic impersonations of 90s comedy for the full podcast if we had to.
See, Rob Newman, he was quite tasty, wasn't he?
Was he?
He still does some great stuff on Radio 4.
I've said it so many times. I will never. It's like I feel like we're at Bletchley Park trying to decode the enigma. What does Keri find attractive? I thought it was chunky men. Now it turns out it's effete men with floppy hair. Then I thought it was swarthy men. There's some alchemy that I just can't work out.
My latest one is I've fallen in love with Jeremy Northam, who was in The Tudors and played Thomas More.
Right. Is he the one? A man who I think I can imagine if I was into men, I would find attractive. Sorry, that sounds so clumsy, but you know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
The guy who plays the general in The Death of Stalin.
Oh, it's I know.
Is that the same guy? Is that the same
No,
actor?
it's not. But I know who you mean.
Is he Warbisable? That one?
He's all right. It doesn't quite get me flame going. But,
I think he's another Jason. Is why I was confused.
What would happen if you got it on with Jeremy Northam, and then the next day you go downstairs, you have breakfast, and then he starts doing DIY and whistling?
That's a very good question. He'd be allowed to.
On the job, Keri, he pops around the back. You're on all fours, and all of a sudden you hear this whistle coming over your shoulder.
Yeah, I'd probably shout, whistle louder. Bit of S&M, you know. Hurt me with your whistling. I've just sent you a photo of him, by the way, in the WhatsApp.
I know who he is. Last time I saw him, he was bearded. Is he bearded in the picture?
Anyway, we've slightly digressed, haven't we? Sorry. But I've been watching The Tudors and I really like it. So.
Yeah.
He's dead now. He's not even in it now. So.
Yeah. Oh.
Had his head chopped off.
We went from Justin to Ian to Adam to Horny Keri.
Yeah. Newman and Baddiel.
Okay, right. So that's it. Justin and Brian are in a field. They're doing nasty impersonations of each other. So the thing is, right, is obviously Brian, we all love Brian. I'm not just saying this to appease Keri, but he has been a shitbag to Stella. So specific to this plot, we are not on Team Brian. We're definitely on Team Stella, aren't we?
Yeah.
Yeah. So actually, Justin being kind of Stella's agent to kind of like kind of crowbar Brian back into place I was kind of cheering along. So it's kind of weird. It's like, my friend's enemy is my friend, or whatever the phrase is. Like, Justin was contextually my hero for the day.
Yeah, because he insisted that Brian reinstate Stella, or he'll be suggesting that Porchester Land terminate their contract.
Yeah.
With Home Farm, yeah. Will Brian do that, do you think?
I think he'll have to. I think the problem is I think Justin was obviously exaggerating for his own benefit, but I think it wasn't difficult for him. He went round there and there's a field not sown. Like Brian was rather limply going, he sounded like an incompetent junior, like, I'll get done on the weekend or Monday at the latest. He didn't sound like the Brian who, we've all grown to love or fear.
Justin's being a bit picky with that. He's looking for any reason to have a go.
Do you not think that but Brian is not someone who, that would normally be Brian saying that to Adam, why isn't that field sown? Why isn't that?
It is sown, it's just not mown.
Is it? Oh, okay, sorry. Yeah. I can only be so interested in the Archer.
I mean, everyone knows that, Peter. You fool. No. Yeah, I take your point about that, but I think Brian's going to be stubborn still. I bet Adam persuades him.
What, persuades him to reinstate Stella?
Yeah.
Well, because he's so weak that he'll have a spasm of guilt. I'm hoping, and I feel like I want to hear what Matthew has to say, but I'm hoping that this is Adam gets frozen out of the farm because Stella gets her feet right under the table. Now that she's been crowned by Justin, and the BL contract is so kind of like intrinsically linked to her.
Yeah.
That, this is Adam's. He wants to be back at the farm. He's done.
Well, she sought agricultural advice, hasn't she? So she might just go, well, you can't just reinstate me like that. I'm pursuing this. You've treated me badly.
But she told Boring Ruth that she doesn't care about compensation. She just wants her job back.
Ah, yes, you're right, because she's very happy where she is, and Weaver likes the river walks. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, Weaver, her Subaru, and her all of her Clarice Starling posters. Love. No, it's Xena Warrior Princess. That's it. Xena Warrior. All her Xena Warrior Princess posters. love being in Ambridge.
Do we think that there's any chance this whole thing finishes Brian off? And then you've got this really messy succession.
I think so.
The Will chat feels like it's building up for something.
Yeah. He keeps going on about being dehydrated and hydrated, and he sounds a bit huffy and puffy as well, doesn't he?
Yeah, he said he was fighting fit as well, which on the Archers is normally like the signal that you're about to cark it.
Yeah. Well, it's mildly interesting, this, isn't it? But for a 20,000th episode, it was a right anticlimax tonight, wasn't it?
I don't know how much longer I can hear about the people from Bridge Farm looking tired. It's having a very strange effect on my mental health.
Is it?
Yeah. I mean, everyone looks tired. Helen looks tired to Emma. Emma and Lee have a conversation, which I think the first time they've ever spoken that I can think of.
He's not a happy boy, Lee, is he?
He's tearing up a bit, isn't he?
Yeah.
At times.
That's what happens when you speak to Emma, though, isn't it?
Yeah, I guess. I mean, Tom's idea was if we all team up together, they can defeat him. What did he say? What was his actual quote? It was something quite Star Wars-y, wasn't it?
Probably.
We can take all his power away, he said. And I was like, you've teamed up this week and taken all my power away. And I'm just sat here listening to you.
And how do they know where he is?
Well, they presume he's down in... Is he in Southampton?
I don't know. Are they going to use the Force
to
work it out?
I'm sure we're all on the same page here. I'm almost on Rob's side.
Yeah. And also, I quite enjoyed George this week again, because he's at least throwing something different, and him and Neil getting along and having jokes and stuff. And Neil's trying to steer him a bit and guide him, isn't he, morally with his behaviours, which he hasn't had a whole lot of.
No.
So that was quite a nice scene.
It was fun. And, even the laboured, we've all done it, sitting there trying to do laboured puns about, that's not a dig at you, Matthew.
What? Who's done that?
When they were doing that's so astonishing, George, or I need to trot her along, Grandpa.
Yeah, I mean, I was so inspired on Twitter this week. I felt like one of the sows because I only have 12 good tweets.
Teats. Oh, fucking hell, I'm so thick. Oh my god. I didn't even get the joke, and then I just shouted teats like a
You did. That's brilliant.
This is part of your Tourette's. You're always doing it,
you,
Peter.
I said I've never been more tired before the podcast. I said earlier on that I was more tired. I'm out of my mind with exhaustion.
We
so
usually
sorry.
edit it out when you shout teats every half an hour.
Yeah, I programmed I edited the software so it just takes it out when Peter yells that.
It's a very, very specific form of Tourette's. Yeah, sorry.
Teats.
I was once in a meeting and some guy had slightly nodded off, and when someone said, "Tom, are you still with us?" and his eyes open and went, "He's a lovely fella."
Sorry, I know it's slightly tangential, but we've all done the calling a teacher mum or dad by mistake, haven't we?
Yeah.
When we were a kid.
I think I did it once. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you rarely do it twice, do you? Really, it's so sort of shameful.
Yeah.
I did say I love you at the end of a call with a customer once when I was on the phones in a call centre. You know, when you go, love you.
I had an Uber Eats guy deliver to me a few weeks ago, and he said, "Bon appetit," and I said, "You too." And I've fucking been beating myself up over that ever since.
That's not too bad.
The moments I really hate when I'm dealing with like delivery or whatever is where I can't. Some of the companies don't let you tip. And I really feel like the appalling middle class bore in me comes out when I'm going, "I'm really sorry, but your company didn't let me put a tip on the thing. I just don't have any change in the house." And they're just kind of they're kind of standing in your doorway, staring at you with completely dead eyes, just like, "I just want to get away, mate. Couldn't give a fuck about your middle class guilt about tipping."
Yeah, and then you just go teats, and that's the
teats,
that's normally
teats,
that's
teats.
the signal for the exchange to end.
I was horrible to a delivery person today.
Well, it doesn't make any sense though, Keri. Someone bought a bucket of KFC to your house and you got cross with them. This is not the Keri Warbis we know and love.
It was not my order, and he kept trying to thrust it upon me, saying it was.
Yeah,
and it was not, and I was horrible to him. He was annoying.
Oh well. I know that you have very strict rules around customer service, so I do trust your instincts.
Yeah, I spent all my day dealing with customers, some of whom are awful, and then I was an awful one myself.
What had you ordered, and why do you think it got mixed up with KFC?
Oh, bad. They're chaos, because then they delivered the replacement and that was wrong as well. So I think London Road KFC in Brighton needs to sort its shit out.
So you did actually order from KFC. It wasn't like you... Oh, okay.
Yeah, which I haven't done for such a long time, but I suddenly got the urge for some Colonel's original, crusty stuff on the outside of chicken, and ordered some Colonel's original 3-piece bucket for one with fries.
Oh, Keri, I can feel Matthew and I both suppressing the urge to go into boring air fryer sales pitch.
Oh, go for it, yeah.
Oh, once you've got an air fryer, Keri, you'll be making your own fried chicken in minutes.
Yeah, it won't be like the Colonel's original recipe, will it, though?
That's pretty good. Pretty good.
Anyway, so this bloody bloke turned up with a tiny little bag with popcorn chicken in it. I mean, what's the point of that? It's just like tiny little blobs of something.
I want the Colonel's crusty bits.
Yeah, I want the fucking original bucket. I was hitting him around the head. Where's my fucking bucket?
Thumbing popcorn chicken into his eye socket.
And he brought a can of Pepsi Max. I was like, get away from my house.
Yeah, you need to put some more signs on your door.
Oh dear. Yeah, sorry, delivery man.
Yeah, so that's what we'd like to do to Tom and Lee. Go for it, Rob. Thumb some popcorn chicken into their stupid faces. Are you still massively in love with Freddie?
Yes,
you are. Yeah. Yep. I had what I thought was it wasn't sort of spoken about on air, but I just imagined Ben at the Freddie's rave. Oh, fucking hell! At some point, we've got to talk about the rap. But anyway, And then it was just like Ben. The reason he got kind of sulky because he was kind of going around the rave trying to show people pictures of Bess and get them to talk about his fucking dog. Hi, I'm Ben. This is Bess.
And I had a girlfriend called Beth.
Yeah. Be my friend.
The most awkward bit was when Sykesy started doing the worm on the dance floor.
All 30 stone of him.
I take old people home with me from work.
Yeah. I'm glad I'm not the only one who's finding Ben absolutely intolerable.
He's bad, isn't he?
Yeah.
I mean, I do quite like that him and Freddie are friends.
Yeah.
And obviously the mothers of those two were loving the fact that their boys are quite happy at the moment, weren't they? That was quite nice.
Yeah, I can imagine that.
Ruth and Elizabeth, they're really relieved, aren't they, that their two f***wit sons are actually, they're being quite positive, aren't they, at the moment?
Yeah, Lizzie seems to have complete amnesia or multiple personality disorder, because a couple of weeks ago she wouldn't even listen to anything Freddie was saying and was just like, I'm very busy.
Yeah.
And now she's like, I really miss you when you're not here. I think you're essential to the running of us. Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, I've written hot and cold next to Lizzie in my notes.
Yeah.
Exactly right.
You've spent 2 weeks in a state of real, quite vivid emotional distress, and I'm going to agree with the people who caused it. Just absolutely heartless. She doesn't. I've said this before, but she seems to have a level of wildly unearned entitlement that is particularly grating. At least Freddie's entitlement is, it's screwy and mad, but at least it's based on some kind of like fact. He is the little lord of the manor.
What would you do if you were Freddie, though? You stand to inherit this pile and it's delayed a bit. You haven't really got a proper job. You're, dossing about the place, trying to prove yourself quite inadequately, really. He's trying his best, isn't it? What can he do there other than sort of sort out that the orangery tea room thingy is working okay and organising a couple of events?
Yeah, and just going around removing paintings of Himmler.
Would you not go travelling for a bit or something and hone some different social skills instead of being in Ambridge?
He's absolutely treading water there, isn't he?
Yeah, exactly.
And this whole thing with, the prog rock assembly not letting him take over the estate, I just think. By the way, we had quite a few communications during the week. Richard got in touch with the official Rick Wakeman curry story, or as official as it can be, because it has entered lore. And Jessica got in touch to tell us it was Kenny G's birthday. She sent me a link to a site called Birthday Bitches, I think, and Kenny G was there.
Was it?
Go on, Kenny, give us a bar. We're on a Zoom call, and Kerry was actually taking a sip of water the whole time she was doing that impersonation.
I think if somehow we can sample that, and then Peter going teats over a beat, and then I can rap over it.
We've got a hit. There's one of the things I do. I've got so many things on my bucket list, but one of the things I want to do, and this might be quite nerdy and sad, is to try and follow the KLF's instructional manual for writing a number one hit. Where it's before they were the KLF, it's when they were the Time Lords. Doctor in the TARDIS was based on their formula for writing a number one hit, and then was a number one hit. And I know it's a bit Gary Glittery, but a bit of a banger. Also, there's a woman called, I'll try and find out her name.
And about 30 years ago.
Something like Delia Hampshire. I'll try and find the link and send it to you both. It's all about the woman who basically co-wrote the Doctor Who theme and how she did it in the 1960s.
Delia Derbyshire.
Thank you, Delia Derbyshire.
Another county.
Yeah, and she's a hottie as well.
Yeah, she is a hottie, but she's also, Matthew, a very intelligent and talented woman.
I'm not saying she isn't. I've massive respect for Delia Derbyshire.
Teats!
I've sat quietly and listened to Matthew's vile sexism for too long. But she's no. But anyway, she's absolutely fascinating. Presumably, you've seen the same clips I have, Matthew, of her playing with the loops and explaining her process.
Yeah, I've seen her getting to grips with a theremin. It was very impressive. I mean, part of the reason Keri got into big trouble with the delivery guy today was all over her bucket list.
Hey, there you go.
What on earth does Freddie play, I wonder, at his set where he had a sea of bobbing heads?
Do you know what I thought? I mean, when they did the whole bobbing heads thing, I thought of Matthew's story about his that threesome he had in Bristol all those years ago, looking down at a sea of bobbing heads. But anyway,
that never went out, did it?
It has now.
I don't know. Okay, so I got it. So Freddie, when he's emceeing, because he's got an extendable mic arm now, hasn't he? Which is basically going to make him he's going to tour the world now that he's ordered this off of eBay. So I've got, this is just bear with me. This is in the early stages. Mm-hmm. This goes out to the Ambridge youth. I'm going to drop the bass like my dad dropped off a roof.
Yes. Very good.
Teats.
And then it needs your air horn noise.
That wasn't right, was it? Yeah, their rapping was appalling, wasn't it? That.
Yeah.
And then Ben did that noise, didn't he? That's sort of like at the end of it. Forget these crusties. Who are the trustees? Forget Lower Loxley. This is Freddie P.
Yeah, it was so bad.
I thought that was just Ben's weird ringtone, because they've all got very strange ringtones, haven't they?
Yes.
We are sort of on average about 51, 52 years old, right? The actors, are they playing a little bit under their age, or are they playing their own age?
Oh, good question.
I think they're playing it. But anyway, let's say that they're at most 25, 26 years old, right? The actors. So, and the writers, I know there's one young writer that's been hired.
Yeah, who's never been to a discotheque, probably.
Yeah, but we're completely incapable of kind of like, or maybe Keri can with her children, but we're completely dislocated from youth culture, right? So, and then Matthew's a teacher as well. Anyway, I'm talking complete bollocks. Yeah. But the point is I'm imagining the editors and the actors are in the room. How much of that is the actors, or did they just have to suck it up and collect their paycheck? Because it did not ring true for me. It sounded like complete fucking bollocks. It did not sound like how young people talk.
I think it can't be the actors, can it? Surely.
No, they basically they've got a gun held to their heads. It's like they're soldiers in St. Petersburg.
Yeah. It's so bad. It can only be scripted. Because, Ben, the actor person, he's been out in the world, hasn't he?
Yeah. Jeff, I actually wouldn't talk like this when I was out. You will read the script.
Yeah. Yeah, the idea that Archer's scriptwriters know what youth... I mean, some of them must have had sex and had children, haven't they? The scriptwriters. Do you think? Is that impossible?
Maybe it's all written in one monastery in kind of like in Lindisfarne, deep under the Isle of Lindisfarne. There's some catacombs where the writing team
with
live.
illuminated letters at the start of each episode. Yeah. Feels that way sometimes, doesn't it? Yeah. Oh, and speaking of strange places, Peterborough was mentioned, wasn't it? Ruth is off to Peterborough, and David's reaction to her being chosen to speak at a farm conference thingy about was it grass-fed B&B guests, something like that, was, why have they asked you?
I sense an affair coming.
Oh, with the man who she met at the Three Counties show last year, who's asked her along.
Yeah.
Yes. Good.
So we've given up on Stella and Ruth. What would they be? Stuth or Rella? Yeah. Is that not happening now?
Well, it could do when Ruth's devastated lake.
Wouldn't it be Struth, as in the Australian exclamation of frustration?
Yeah. I was just thinking she might crack under the strain of having had the affair and have a go on Stella as well.
And then if Weaver's around?
Yeah, possibly.
Are we sure that Stella's a lesbian?
No.
Because I think I've just inherited that from the Twitterverse. I don't feel particularly convinced she is.
No, I think we kind of ran with that in a humorous way, based only on the fact that, she hasn't got a boyfriend and is quite a strident, successful female doing her own independent thing, and probably actually wears trousers and that sort of thing. So it has to be.
Trousers must be then, yeah.
Exactly.
trousers.
She's probably got short hair,
There was a fair bit of chat that Pip and Stella might end up.
Oh. That's true, yes.
Mother-daughter, haven't you?
What, you think both of them will happen?
Oh, God. Teats.
So
that's the theme of the week.
It's the name of the episode.
Okay.
So a bisexual Pip stirs her mum's latent homosexuality.
Oh, I thought you were going to say stirs something else.
No, the jealousy of finding Pip scissoring with Stella in the cottage when she pops by, and all of a sudden she feels this kind of like, insane jealousy, and then it's only then she realizes she's in love with Stella.
Great. If only this would happen, though.
Yeah. We should go to Linda's farm.
That's how you do a 20,000th episode, isn't it?
Yeah. Where was the scissoring?
Christ, exactly. I mean, just they could have done any. I mean, because they said 20,000th episode. I thought, oh, okay. Well, at least we're going to hear some incredible moment of badly Foleyed violence, just something. But all we got was that bollocks we talked about earlier on with Tom and Lee, which I don't want to talk about again. Anyway, but sorry, got to be positive, as I said earlier on. So Stella good,
yes.
And what else did I enjoy? The whole Freddie thing is vaguely interesting.
George and Neil quite enjoyed that interaction.
Yeah, so it has actually, after a solid month of quite fair moaning, I think maybe it was an enjoyable week.
Also, a little girl wants to now be a cheesemaker when she grows up because she liked the dairy window. So there's that, isn't there?
Did I must have. How did I miss it? What happened there? I completely missed
that.
It was off
Kirsty and
mic,
Tom, they were packing.
Oh, right, yeah.
Yeah, but it was referred to, wasn't it?
Yeah.
By Kirsty and Tom as they were packing the breakfast boxes for the camp.
Something that might chill the blood. I saw some chat on social media that Jack is due to come on mic this month. Who's the older one, Jack or Henry? Who's
Jack.
the one Rob's?
Jack Gideon is.
Thank you, Kerry. Yeah, Matthew.
I think one or both of them are due to get speaking parts this month or next month.
Yeah, it's like, take that.
Is he 12
take
or something?
Take that, Rob, as he fires the shotgun into his temple.
Yeah.
That was actually interesting as well about Henry. Was it Henry who got a detention and daren't tell his mum?
Yeah, that was just kind of one of those moments where I was like, have I missed an episode this week? Or are they just telling me what happened? And
yeah, so he told Lee, but he daren't tell his mum. And it might be because he can sense that Helen is in a bit of a state at the moment. But I did think that was slightly interesting in that Henry feels more able to discuss stuff with Lee, and he was very upset. And he didn't say to Lee that it was the whole group who'd got detention. So Lee was very worried that Henry was acting out because of troubles at home, whereas actually they'd all got detention, hadn't they, for forgetting their homework.
Yeah. And there was the telling scene where I can't remember who it was. Lee made a little throwaway remark about kind of like, oh, that's it. He was at the cafe talking to, not the cafe, what's it called?
Tea room.
The tea room, thank you. He was at the tea room talking to Emma, and he's like, oh, I thought I could be here with Helen, but that's never going to happen. And she was like, no, we said, well, it's a Borsetshire Blue Monday, isn't it?
Yeah.
But the point was that that's not what he was saying. He wasn't referring to the Borsetshire Blue, was he? He was more kind of generally sort of like the idea that he'd ever be able to hang out with Helen.
Borchester Blue Monday is the name of an Ambridge New Order tribute act.
New Order.
It's
sorry, you shouldn't laugh at your own stuff, should you?
No, it was well worth it.
And also, I thought Emma in that tea room scene was so funny because she was awful, wasn't she? She kept dropping clangers to Lee. She didn't twig that he's fragile at all, and she was going, "Oh, it must be really hard for you with your girls being in a different time zone and that."
Oh, that was awful.
And he went, "Oh no, I got a smiley picture this morning," and she was like, "Oh yeah, but that's good, isn't it? You're getting all the good bits, and you don't have to deal with the day-to-day grind of their troubles, do you?" And he sort of went, "Oh."
What I love, Lee, is at the end of the day, no matter how stressed out I am, I can just bury my nose in my kids' hair, and just the scent of them reminds me of who I am and what purpose I've got, and I just feel the love coursing through my body. But you can't do that, can you? Because they're thousands of miles away.
More butter for your scone, is it?
And poor Lee. I mean, he first of all he goes and he gets stuck talking to Emma. Then he goes to talk to Tom, and Tom just starts shoving tomatoes in his mouth, doesn't he?
Yeah, and then he gets blackmailed into going to beat up his psycho, stupid wife's psycho ex-husband.
Nothing good can come of that.
No, Helen will go absolutely apeshit about that because Rob will just use it against them. This mob of two of them coming at him, won't he? Don't do that.
I've just got a picture of Lee, sort of like he's he walks. So Tom shoves him forward, saying Lee knows martial arts, and sort of Rob just turns around and shouts 4 and takes Lee's head off with a cricket bat.
4
teats.
Yeah, chokes him to death with some tomatoes.
I'm thinking by now he looks exactly like the manager from Spinal Tap, with the kind of like the lank blonde hair and his kind of
What a fantastic character.
Yeah, he's great, isn't he?
Absolutely brilliant.
But meanwhile, Kirsty is saying the best we can do for Jack and Henry is to be normal. Well, that's never going to happen, is it?
Nope.
Although she is right.
Yeah, but they can't do it. That is
the best they can do.
They can't.
Yeah.
Be normal.
No, poor them. Poor us.
And it's Jim's birthday as well.
Yeah, I was just about to say, sad that's something that just happened off mic.
Yeah.
There's a fair bit of ageism as well, wasn't there? Because David got really shitty about the fact that they said he was in his 80s. Was it even 84 that they said he was?
82.
82. And then you've got Jim's 84th birthday.
Yeah, but if someone said to you, Matthew, your picture's in the press and they've put that you're 82 underneath it, and no one bats an eyelid.
I think I'd find that quite funny.
Do you think Jim was there, kind of opening his presents, like, oh, how nice, another pair of glasses. Oh, look, oh, yes, a pair of glasses. Oh, how thoughtful, a pair of spare glasses.
And even the bloody card was Eeyore with glasses on.
Yeah.
Wasn't it? And the birthday cake in the shape of a book. I wanted to hear him, though, having his birthday.
Yeah, but we need Jim to go back to being old Jim.
He is old. He's 84.
Which was it last week? One of you said what I'd said, which is that Jim's been a bit messed with recently. You agreed. One of you agreed with me, I think, or I just said, is that just wishful thinking? By the way, well done, you two, on knocking out a midweek pod. By the way, that was a Herculean effort because I was because I there's absolutely no way I could have done it, but like I was quite sort of impressed that you managed to rouse yourselves on a Wednesday.
Thanks.
Was it
Thursday
Wednesday?
And a little bit on Friday as well. I thought I was having a week off. Next thing I know, that we were doing that.
yeah. I enjoyed it.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think a lot of people.
Peter.
A lot.
No. So sorry. Any surprise was. I know how weird it is to do the podcast, and at least one of the things we have is we have our little routine that we slot into.
Yeah.
So I was surprised how actually, given that you were kind of doing it in between buckets of chicken and
the Tudors,
free bacon, whatever it is that Matthew gets up to in his Portuguese utopia, that you managed to kind of like get it all neat and tidy.
Oh, talking of neat and tidy, dishwasher chat, Peter. You lit the fires 2 weeks ago, and then you weren't here to take the flak.
Well, this is a big topic, so I'm going to say we need an advert, and then we can fully engage in the. I'm not taking a backward step, by the way, to all you dumb motherfuckers who think that tines should go down. Anyway, yeah. Right, Matthew. Just imagine, kind of like I'm thinking the sort of what's it called, mastermind theme. I don't care what anyone else thinks. I don't care what science says. I am basically a flat earther on this topic. The tines, the blades, the bowls and the spoons should be down into the cage. I did miss out one thing when I ranted a couple of weeks ago, which was that we now, like Matthew, have one of those dishwashers with the tray on top, since it's actually anger left over from a previous home. This is how passionately I feel about this.
I thought you said they should be up, Peter, to get the full squirt of the water.
Yes, exactly.
You said
that.
Down
yes,
just now.
It should be up. Did I?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Well, yeah, look, I'm incompetent, but my passion is so.
You sound like Boris Johnson right now.
Yes.
You're tripping up, love. Come on.
I fucking work in the same building as that.
No.
Apparently,
Stick some tines in him, would you?
apparently Kwesi Kwarteng and Boris Johnson both work in the same tower as me. They have offices in the same tower. And I was discussing last week because there's no way I could be physically near them and not say
Yeah.
something. So I
Teats!
was talking to. I'll just poke them in the teats. And no, I'm going to have to. I've decided if I do see
With a
one of them,
fork.
I'm just going to have to bugger off. I won't be able to. I'll have to leave whatever room it is, walk out of the elevator. But yeah, anyway, there you go.
Oh, you'd have to shout some word of like
No,
disgrace or
yeah,
something.
but my job's not worth. It's not worth losing my job over.
Can you lose your
some
job for shouting "you're a disgrace" or something at a person?
I don't think it would be a good look to shout something abusive at another tenant in a building.
Oh,
I think it's all right. It's a good look if it's them.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I don't think there's many Boris Johnson fans in my office, but
I
at the same
suppose
time,
you've only started not
yeah.
long ago. If you're just suddenly sort of
Exactly.
hurling abuse at people.
Best not lose my job just because it's not. Where could someone go to find a long documented resource of my opinions about Boris Johnson? Where could they go? But
Anyway, back to the forks and that.
yeah, sorry. So you're absolutely right. Time's up.
I got it in the neck because I've just bought a dishwasher for the first time in my life, and I published the photo
Well done, Matthew.
of me having laid on the third tray at the top, all the knives and forks flat.
I didn't think that was real. I thought that was an Alamy stock image. There were too many
that's literally in my
knives and forks
kitchen.
and spoons for two people.
Guys, it's happened again. I need to go for 30 seconds. There's beers in the freezer. Carry on talking about dishwashers.
Okay.
Yeah, so I shared it to our Facebook page,
Mm.
and someone replied. It was Liam. Liam Rayner replied, obviously assuming it wasn't my photo, saying there's a special place in hell for that idiot, thinking that I'd laid them all, like someone had laid them all in the normal tray. And I wrote, isn't that what that top shelf is for? This is my first time I've owned one, with another photo showing it was mine. And then he replied, look at that. Here's me thinking we were a group of socialists with a pre-rinse cycle being our dog's tongues. All that, and our leader has a 3-drawer dishwasher. I mean, he went on to say that as far as he's concerned, the top shelf is for Viz and Grot Mags. So,
nice. Yeah. Well, I'm impressed with your... is that new cutlery? Because it was just... There's far too many spoons. Someone else said that, didn't they?
Did they?
Are you spoon mad in Portugal or something?
Yeah, I then went on to say, I went on to allude that the only way of getting through the arteries is a raging heroin habit. And that's why there were so many
you're
spoons.
cooking up on all those spoons.
Oh, of course.
Okay.
No, that was a IKEA cutlery that needed to be washed. So.
Right. Okay. Yeah. So Charlotte's right. Then you said they should all go down, Peter. Is that right?
Well, yeah. I mean, it's as I said, I'm a flat earther on this topic, even though I wasn't coherent enough to remember what I was flat earth about. But yeah, I just there's certain things. Just it's not even a scientific thing. It's emotional. It's raw. I hate Boris Johnson, and I'm not willing to bend on.
It does make sense that they should be the bits that need cleaning should be waving about at the top, waiting to be squirted with water instead of being crammed all into a basket at the bottom, like loads of gunky fork prongs shoved in together down below. Wouldn't get clean enough.
Yeah, and if you're allowed to walk around saying that you believe in a zombie carpenter, and no one, and we're supposed to treat that politely and not laugh at you, or a jugged inbred half-wit can sort of rule his country with his sausage fingers, then if I'm not allowed to have my strong opinions about dishwashers, then the world is not fair.
Also,
it's not just.
The sort of the fear that you might spear yourself on a fork or knife that's upward.
Yeah.
Well, you handle them in so many other ways and don't manage to do that.
Yeah, and also, that's the kind of maverick I am, Keri. I'm living on the edge with all my cutlery facing upwards. Talking of living on the edge, we have been threatening football chat for a couple of months now, and not doing it. We the only time we mention football is to talk about how much everyone doesn't want us to talk about football.
There's only one person who vehemently hates us talking about football, so I'm sorry, but you're going to have to suck it up this week.
Well, we've got a couple of things to get through quickly. First of all, is my sincere apology to Matthew for dedicating 3 or 4 minutes a couple of weeks ago to traducing his fine team Chelsea. And Matty, I'm very sorry about that. I know that it's
he
a difficult
really
time
is Boris
for you,
Johnson tonight.
and I hope that our friendship can survive that rather unpleasant piece of broadcast. Another topic is the fact that West Ham, unlike Chelsea, have just won a cup in Europe. So well done, me. And then there's also the fantasy football.
Yeah, congratulations on that, Peter. What is the cup called?
The UEFA League Cup.
I don't think so.
Is it not?
No.
What's it called?
I don't know, but I knew you wouldn't.
It's the UEFA Conference League.
I got most of the words. No, I got all the words. I just missed one out.
I'm only teasing. It's sort of slightly obscure, isn't it? That's.
But it's like the fact that we all call it the Milk Cup.
Yeah.
No one can be bothered to remember the current names.
It was lovely seeing
all
the fans there. In a tiny ground. It was 18,000 capacity, wasn't it? But there were 25,000 West Ham fans outside.
Have you seen the clip of the little boy going absolutely bananas with joy about the team winning, and then about sort of he just 10 seconds he can't help but slam Spurs. It's absolutely glorious. Have you seen that, Matty?
No, I haven't.
Oh, okay. I'll send it to you later. It's oh god. Anyway, it's wonderful. Anyway, happy days. So come on then. It's been a while since you've tortured me. I assume that I'm still bottom of the fantasy league.
Well, the league has finished now, hasn't it?
Yeah, who won it?
Chris Charlson with chumps with 2,490 points. So the top four was Chris Charlson, then there was Terry Wigan, Ellie Brown, 4-4 Pooh, Nat Ogle, Audrey Cameron 4th, James Goldston 5th, Julie Fremantle 6th. She was leading at one point. Andrew Beasley 7th.
Can we give the FA Cup to 4-4 Pooh just for a good name?
Yeah, we could.
Yeah.
Where did I finish? I finished 20th. Kerry, where were you? 16th. You finished.
Okay.
Yeah, Max, like Arsenal, Max couldn't sustain it through the season, could he?
Yeah, it was one of those where definitely in recent weeks, numbering probably about 10 or 12, it hasn't been looked at all.
No, I mean, the fact is you had Ivan Toney up front and he's banned in a betting scandal.
Oh, thanks. We still beat you, though.
And your goalkeeper was injured as well. You beat me.
Who else did we beat?
Quite a lot of people, but relegate the Archers. Peter Fickling ended with 1,351 points at the bottom of the table.
How close was the next person up? Was there ever a chance he wouldn't be bottom?
No. The next person up, 1,351. The 24th place was 1,524.
This reminds me of when I was at school and they did at the end of year they did all of the conduct marks and they were like, Keri Warbis, stand up Warbis, 4 conduct marks. And it was like, no, again, we're 7 conduct marks. Bad show. And then it was Fickling, stand up Fickling, 3,722 conduct marks. And then the headmaster said, boo him.
No.
Boo him. Yeah. The whole school was instructed to boo me. Anyway, so my margin of failure was so gargantuan that I earned a boo. So you two can feel free. I've also been beaten on stage at school by a different headmaster, but that's a whole.
Was this during your performance of that play?
No, but I was pelted. I was pelted on stage. Another occasion, I was up there with a kid called
so
Matty.
much about
it does.
honestly.
I'm basically imagining Peter on a chaise longue and I'm scribbling furiously in my notepad right now.
Imagine how confident and arrogant I'd be if I hadn't had those bruising experiences. I'm this arrogant
with them all.
After all that with all those scarring experiences, I would be out of control. So I say thank you to those people.
Didn't a member of your family shove you into the Solent in a pair of knitted trunks once as well?
Yes. That was just as puberty hit. My grandmother forced me into the freezing ocean in a pair of knitted Victorian bathing pantaloon things.
Oh my God, but no one has beat him to the sound of Fleetwood Mac.
No. Well, we all have our crosses to bear, don't we?
Yeah. Fetch the chain. No, mummy, no.
I did notice the last time I was home, right at the top of my mum's CD stack was Rumours by Fleetwood Mac. I was like, oh shit.
Did you have some sort of internal oh God, taking you back to your youth moment when you saw that CD?
No, I got to admit, it's one of my favourite albums, so I can kind of...
I know,
can
but
get
in
through
your
the pain.
mother's room, I mean...
Are you pervert?
Yes.
Yeah, it's like having, what's his name, whistle to you.
Yeah. Jeremy Northam can whistle to me any old time. Thank you.
Just want to give a little bit of a shout out to some new patrons we've got. Emily Crow, David Nicholson, and M. Robinson all came on board the Cider Shed Patreon this week. It was really, really nice. Thanks. Massive help, as we've said before. And you can do that by going to www.patreon.com/the Cider Shed. You can find us on Instagram on @the Cider Shed Pod, and we have a Facebook group where it all got a bit dishwashy this week, and that's called the Cider Shed Podcast. I've given them their exact names here, but it seems whenever you two are vague about it, we get more traction. We've actually got 600 members of the Facebook page, so It's been a bit of a slow burner, but it's got there.
Twitter @the Cider Shed Pod. Come along there. We have no new 5-star reviews this week, so please send those through if you can. They really, really help us.
Should we mention our email that no one ever gets in touch with us on?
Oh, go on. Let's have a little check. See if there's anything in there. I know there isn't, but let's have a little look.
We got lots of stuff on the Facebook this week, and quite a few messages on Instagram as well. So I think people are just far more attuned to sending things via social media.
I expect Jeremy Northam's written in.
Well, he's here in the inbox. Kerry, email.
Does it say teats?
Yeah. Dear Kerry, I would love to smash your back door in. Yours, Jeremy Northam, and then a mobile number.
Great.
Anyway.
And what was the email that he wrote to send that, Peter?
hello@thecidershed.com. Oh, sorry. The pause was me trying to think of some kind of deeply obnoxious, even more offensive joke at Kerry's expense, but my brain failed me.
I will have to say, Liam, although having a go at me about the dishwasher, did get in touch with that wonderful Democracy Manifest T-shirt that he posted to our Facebook. I think he did to our Twitter as well, didn't he?
Yeah, great stuff. You both need one of those T-shirts, I reckon.
Yeah, I do feel sorry for anyone who hasn't taken the time to watch Succulent Chinese Meal. We can pop that in the description as well, can't we, Matthew, alongside Delia?
Yes, absolutely.
Completely sincerely, I found her incredibly, I know we were joking earlier on, but I did find her incredibly inspiring when I was watching the videos of her the other day and researching her. She had quite a sad life as well. So, it seems to be the kind of cliched punishment for being working class, smart, and ambitious in the UK, and a woman, of course, is to have a tragic life.
When you said deeply sincerely, I thought you were going to do a really nice little speech about me and Matthew.
Yeah, I thought you were going to say.
Because you're stepping back a little bit. But no, you went on about this bloody keyboard lady.
I know.
No. It's not a goodbye. It's
I know, and
it just made me laugh.
Dear listener, you can decide whether Peter's stepping back for a little bit because of his schedule, or he delved into the Cider Shed coffers and put a deposit of 75,000 down on an Italian coffee making kit. So.
Yeah. Yeah, I am very much the Stella in this situation. Yeah, and you can decide who's Justin and who's Brian out of the other two.
or who's Adam?
Fuck off.
I was going to say, okay, that can finish the pod.
Yeah.
Okay, how am I supposed to be sincere after that? No, in all sincerity, I'm not disappearing. And I did want to say about the Patreon thing that it's not about the money, but I think it's about the the impact it has on our kind of morale. And I won't be claiming any Patreon money from now on. And the only reason I mention that is because I know that Matthew and Kerry are going to be putting in a huge amount of effort to keep things going, and just I am slightly burnt out by doing the edit every week for a long time, and that's why I do need a bit of a break. And it's just to sharpen people's minds that yes, it is really appreciated, and Matthew and Kerry put in a lot of work, and I can only say that from this perspective now because I'm not going to be doing it as much as before. Yeah.
Will you still listen to the Archers, Peter?
No, no. Yeah, but the weird thing is
he's gone a bit Boris Johnson again.
I told Kerry and
That's
Matthew.
not what we're talking about today.
I told Kerry and Matthew like about a month ago that I wanted to take a little break, and then people have been busy, and so it was like I served a little sort of like notice period sort of thing, and then really actually I was kind of like, because of how we had a week off last week, actually the pressure of not having to listen to it actually made it a bit more sort of easy to kind of want to. Does that sound weird?
No, doesn't sound weird at all. I can totally.
So I am sort of, and actually there are a few characters, because when we were talking a few weeks ago, I was like, because I have been really giving it a kicking recently, the Archers, and I do still love the show, but I genuinely mean what I've been saying over the last month. They do need to pull their fucking finger out and make it a bit more
good.
Yeah, they do. Because I would genuinely... People have said in the past very kindly about the podcast that the podcast is better than the Archers. And I've always thought that is a sort of funny joke. But I'd say over the last month, it's actually true. I'd say the Cider Shed is better than the Archers.
I'm fucked for that.
And that's not me crowing or boasting on our behalf. So, let's hope. But actually, it's being positive again. I am interested in what's going to happen to Stella. I do want to know about Toby. I do want to know about Rex. I like the whole Freddie thing's interesting. I need to know what's happening with Jim. Who couldn't love Tracy and Jazza? There's plenty to still like and be tuning for.
Great, and you can still listen to me and Matthew.
Oh, 100%, yeah. I'm waiting to see you have left the WhatsApp group. Flashing up. Yeah.
That won't happen with us, Peter. Don't you worry.
Oh no. Okay. Yeah, that's good. Yeah. Well, guys, fantastic to chat. I will talk to you both soon. And as I said, is this the one thing we always promised with the Cider Shed was that we'd be 100% honest. So in that spirit, I will talk to you all soon. And thank you very much.
One last teats, Peter.
Teats.
Did he do one?
No.
I did. Teats.
There you go. It cut out. Your teeth. You cut out your own teeth there, Peter.
Oh, dear. Yeah.
Good.